This is my creative writing portfolio, Living Margin, by Laria Beale. This portfolio is a record of becoming. Over the course of this semester, I moved through the landscapes of short fiction, poetry, and theater, not as a tourist, but as someone learning to inhabit each form. What happened as careful analysis slowly transformed into something more personal. The courage to write from my own uncertainty, my own silences, my own almost conversations. The 4 pieces collected here trace that arc. The Date is a speculative flash fiction exploring mortality and the freedom that comes from not knowing. Absence draws from Sylvia Plath's Mad Girl's love song to shape the echoes left by Lost. Almost Conversations is a personal vignette about the weight of unspoken words and the slow work of learning to be honest. And my reflection looks back on how the semester changed the way I read, revise, and understand literature as something alive. Writers like Plath and the voices we studied in class taught me that writing is never finished. It is always becoming, just as I am. So here are my all of my poems or flash fictions. Here we have The Date, Absence, Almost Conversations, and Reflection. I'm going to choose Almost Conversations. Almost Conversations, a meditation on the words we swallow, the silences we choose, and the slow courage of learning to be honest. I've had the same imaginary conversations over and over. None of them ever actually happened. They usually unfold late at night when everything's still. My mind just wanders. I revisit old memories and edit them. I say what I held back from saying. Maybe I answer differently. I picture how things would have turned out if I'd dropped my guard, admitted what I actually felt, and set it straight. In those scenarios, everything clicks. But real life doesn't work like that. Real life is messier, harder to untangle. I tend to think too much before I speak, not in a calm, mindful way, but almost timidly. Every word gets double-checked, like if I'm worried it'll land wrong. Because of that, I often stay silent when it's probably the exact moment I should speak up. Especially when it comes to relationships. Not only the romantic ones, but friendships too. There's this invisible force keeping things simple. Don't make it awkward. Avoid anything that might change how you relate or make someone uneasy. So instead, I brush things aside. Convince myself it's not worth mentioning, that it doesn't really matter. But it does matter. It doesn't just vanish. It becomes something else. It creeps back later in the small ways. The distance, the spiraling thoughts, the sense that something feels off but you can't really name it. There's this gap between what I feel and what I say, and over time that gap just keeps growing. Lately, I notice it more. Silence isn't always passive. Sometimes it shapes things as much as words do. I can recall a time not long ago I almost spoke honestly. Nothing dramatic, just something simple and real. Something that would have cleared the tension, but I held back. I hesitated, overthought how it might come across, and let the moment slip by. The conversation rolled on, business as usual. Nothing blew up, but nothing improved either. That's the strange truth. Dodging discomfort doesn't solve anything. It just pushes it further down, or buries it, or transforms it into something heavier, more persistent. I'm starting to see that growing up, both personally and inside relationships, means getting comfortable with being direct. No brusque, just honest. Because these almost conversations don't disappear. They hang around. And honestly, sometimes they speak louder than anything I've ever actually said. So this was really special to me because I have a really hard time, depending on who I'm around, being myself sometimes. And especially from experiences where you try to be yourself and you get instantly rejected, or you feel the tension in the room, like someone's judging you, so you kind of just shut yourself off. And eventually, after that happening so many times around certain people, you just become kind of reclused within yourself, or recluded within yourself, and you don't really show who you are. And a lot of times you'll know some people, but they don't really know you because you're giving an inauthentic version of yourself. And my goal this year is to really just be myself, despite what anyone thinks or has to say. And you worry about people judging you, but honestly, when you just unapologetically are yourself, people appreciate it more. So you don't really have to worry about your worries. But yeah, this is my website, and I think it came together very nicely.